So I don't necessarily have anything specific to say today, but I do wanna. In Swedish, we say bolla, and that means ball, but it means something different in Swedish. To ball in Swedish means to sort of back and forth, do the back and forth about a topic or what have you. And so I want to ball today. I think ball in terms of being, NBA-esque and just sort of using your money very frivolously. It's not a great term. I don't even know if it means ball as in go to the great ballroom, as in dress up and go to the big dance, or does it mean to throw a ball around? I don't know. Not what I wanted to talk about. What I want to talk about is the internet as a manifestation of the dream dimension, aka the astral, right? So a lot of people have heard about 4D. We live in 3D. I'd say some live in 2D. But there is the 4D. The 4D is as I understand it, the dimension that is timeless, okay? It is the dimension that you are in when you dream, when you daydream, even when you are in certain disembodied states. Okay, the internet, I would argue, is also in the fourth dimension. Okay, because on the internet, to a lesser degree or bigger degree, you are disembodied and you are sort of in this timeless dimension where people kind of fling everything. So if there is an opinion, if there is hate, if there is love, if there is what have you, people will fling it onto the internet. The internet has been pretty much the catalyst for the anti-psyop revolution, right? That was so pivotal to bringing the age of Aquarius in, right? We would not have as readily started to question establishments, question governments, question programming, question pretty much everything that has been told to us that we have not experienced ourselves, right? So this is all the psyoping. Psyoping doesn't need to be only sort of satanic, CIA-esque mind control. It can also be something that you do to yourself, right? It's everything really does have a negative and a positive polarity. So the internet has been a great catalyst for the anti-psyop revolution, which is still going on, although I personally feel that it's been put to bed because how much doxing and how much blackpilling can you do? I mean, at some point, you're just repeating yourself. If you understand that at the core of Matrix lies not so much the psyop as the tendency for the psyop, then you've pretty much made it. The rest of the work is experiential and beyond, energetic and even beyond energy, right? This is the work that remains after this. If you keep doxing psyops or sort of blackpilling about psyops, then you're stuck, I'd say, on the lower levels of the 4D astral dream dimension or internet, right? You are still taking it all too seriously. You are sort of hinging your existence upon there being a constant conflict aimed at you, right? And so I think everybody goes through this. Everybody goes through it like, oh yeah, but it's all shit, right? and then you sort of drop it. You go, well, it is what it is. Actually, outside of my mirror, sorry, well, that's interesting. Outside of my window, there is what has always been, right? There is grass, there is nature, there is a birch. Like it's business as usual, actually. So you start realizing that most, if not all, of your worries were actually belonging to the dream states, right? So you didn't actually get touched by them. Okay, it's not to say that this is unreal because the dream state is a sort of reality. It's just not the reality that should have priority. And this is also why emotional processing work. There's various healing methods, various cognitive behavioral therapies that talk about um, or teach emotional processing. Emotional processing is not embodiment practice. When you're processing your emotions, you are not inside of your body. A lot of people make this assumption, but it's not the case. This is because of various ways that the energy field that informs the physical of emotions behaves. You're embodied when you are very grounded in your body and you're not mindful of emotions, not because you're ignoring them, but because there are no emotions. Emotions are actually stuck energy. Some people even say that emotions are indigestion. If you're having emotions, then you're having indigestion. That it's that simple. Chinese medicine, I would say, agrees with this. Um, Emotions are in a way digested, and if they're digested real time, then you will not experience them as emotions, you will experience them as movement or change rather, and specifically change of the five elements or four elements: water, wood, fire, earth, right? So this is always cycling in us, these elements. um, and the internet is in itself perhaps a big stuck emotion, right? For various reasons, it's a big stuck emotion because the internet is at core digital, so it's always going beep up, beep up. It's digital, 1010. It's not analog. You can even feel this when you listen to analog music. There is a sensation of progression and ongoing that just it's much harder to access that with anything digital sound wise. um but yeah, this is what I wanted to bawl about. I wanted to bawl about the internet because it is so very beckoning. Jordan Peterson mentioned at some point of his career that the screen, the digital screen or what have you, is so beckoning because it's actually represents or reminds of the snake skin. So evolutionarily, it was very important for us to be able to spot the glistening snake. This is why we are so prone to notice the glistening snake or the screen before anything else. Mm. And of course, this ties into the theory about reptilianism and how the 3D realm is mostly run by money, energy, and sex laundering reptilians, which I don't think all reptilians are bad. I think it's the same as with people. You have bad people, you have good people, you have bad reptilians, you have good reptilians. But it's interesting that the snake in the Garden of Eden was a reptile. Screens are very beckoning, they do beckon us. A lot of people are more drawn to the LED screen or scrolling than they are to daylight. And it's a bad loop, because if you get into LED scrolling, you can it's just a looping. You wake up because you can't go to sleep. Your circadian rhythm is kicked on, but you're not actually progressing in the day because it's such a um, singled out light spectrum, or singled out light frequency that the LED screens give off, that you're sort of stuck in one moment of the day too, which is very poetic, right? Because I'm sitting here in my chair and I'm just looking out on my terrace, and the sun is informing me, okay, change, 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 change. And the biggest times that we're informed of change, and we know this intuitively, are actually in the morning, right? At dawn and at dusk. It's also when the red light is happening. So a lot of people love red light these days. They buy them, but actually, this is what happens at dawn and dusk, right? And everybody loves a good sunset. Why do we love a good sunset? It's because we're there, just fully ready to go, and before we know it, we've been sort of turned off if we have participated in the change that the sun has offered us, right? It's one of the, like, we can agree, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world, right? To sit through a sunset, because you're sort of, it's like being cradled to peace by a parent. Um, and that is the beautiful trick, or the beautiful uh, unwanted uh, causation of the LED screen. It makes you stuck in one particular minute, second of the day, and you can't move on. Down the line, it causes indigestion too, because anything that makes you stuck, and I don't care what you will say molecularly to this, or what have you, anything that makes you stuck, if it's an emotion, an event, a food, a lack of food, anything that makes you stuck, will in some department of you start generating a blockage. This blockage can later manifest as, God forbid, cancer, stroke, depression, what have you. Actually, all disease comes from the lack of change in the body, the lack of detoxing, and the lack of energy, right? So the internet is not as changeable as we would like to believe. We would want to say that the internet is this great library of knowledge and what have you, but principally because we're sitting in such a singled out frequency of light, already are we affected. Our nervous system and subconscious is told, I'm stuck. So any information we take in is also not the same as it would be if it were taken into a book or what have you. And then secondly, people are very rehashing on the internet. People want to keep blackpilling, but there's not that much desire to um, transcend the black pill, right? What's next? Okay, we all know psyops are a thing. We all know you have to free yourself in whatever way you can and see fit. But what's next, right? Do you keep talking about it? Do you keep emoting and being stuck in emotions about it? Or do you move on? And how do you move on? So, this is what I wanted to talk about, I guess. Thank you.